You went ahead and learned the raid, and now it's finally time to step up the DPS and really know the patterns and when to greet and when not. So today, guys, we're gonna go dive into Echidna and tell you guys how to DPS inside of the raid. This is gonna be part of a multi-part series where I'm gonna go to different raids showing how to DPS and as well showing how to support in the same raids. This is gonna be the first video in the series, so if you guys have any feedback, leave it in the comment section down below. So of course, this video is not gonna be a video where you're gonna learn all the mechanics. You already should know them if you're watching this, but I'm gonna show you guys, of course, the places where you should go ahead and DPS in Gate 1 and Gate 2. So let's go ahead and join the party and let's get going. As well, while we're creating the lobby, I'm going to be playing, of course, on my main breaker. I will be taking a party that's not going to be too overgeared, though. So the raid is not going to end in like 2 seconds. As well, this is a front attacking class. I will cover and tell you guys, of course, the patterns where you should go ahead and DPS as a back attacker and a hitmaster as well. So don't worry about that too much. Most of all these patterns are kind of universal, so it shouldn't differ that much in an actual raid. Okay, so the party we're running with is going to be me. We have a 60-60, a 16-60, and then the rest is all 16-40. So this is a pretty realistic Echidna lobby. Okay, we're loading inside of Gate 1, so I will tell you as well, we are going to be playing inside of the main island party. We're not going to be playing the stagger party. Normally, if you're a big DPS, you're mainly playing the main island one. Of course, if you're in stagger party, just go in and stagger and save your hyper for the final part. You're going to see me use hyper a little bit earlier, but if you're on the second island, do not waste your hyper on the island. Just save it for the final parts. I'll be sure to mention that as well. Okay, music's on as well, because in Gate 2, it's actually very important to have the music so to know when to DPS. So we are bringing ourselves the standard Dark Grenade, Atrophy, Sacred Charm. Of course, if you want to go ahead and do a lot of DPS at the start, be ready. Of course, you want to use your Stimmy as well to make sure you have full mode. So that's the stimulant item you can get as well. Of course, if you are a character that doesn't use this, don't worry about it. You don't have to pop it up, and we're good. Party 2, Stag, and we're gonna go ahead and go in like that. So of course, now party 2 now knows that they should stagger, and we're ready and good to go. I'll be using the sidereal at the top, so I'll be giving you some sidereal information as well at the same time, which could be cool. Alright, we're gonna get started, and first of course, we're gonna get ourselves the little NPC right here. We don't have to use big skills, just go ahead and take her down. We want to save the big skills, of course, for the boss. So after the second line is gone as well, a Veil is gonna come in, do a little bit of a stun, and after that, we can go ahead and DPS. But we're waiting a little bit because he maybe is going to go away. Look, he immediately teleports. So if I went for a big damage burst, we would be just messed over. So right now, I can go ham. Of course, I should have done it a little bit faster, but there we go. We have enough time. He's going to do spin, so there's going to be a counter right away. So wait for the counter, and then I go for my big burst skills because I want to make sure that they're landing, and we're reaching 160. So 160 has now been reached. We're going to continue on. And we're gonna go ahead and get our gauge back up. So if you're gauge gaining class, then right now is the perfect time. Hit the mobs, rush to them, and as well, we're gonna have the dragon to get gauge on, and just make sure that your gauge is fully maxed out by the time that the stagger check at the top is gonna be finished. So that's sort of the thing we're gonna be focusing on right now. So we're just gonna get ourselves as much gauge as possible. Of course, we're a breaker. We don't care about this too much because we just get gauge by using skills, but a lot of classes, of course, need to hit something to get gauge from. So these dragons, the mobs, and as well the stagger check on top is the perfect time to get yourself some gauge. So up next, of course, if you have a sprinter's robe or of course a marching flag like that, you can use it just to save yourself a little bit of time. Like if you want to squeeze out and complete the raid as fast as possible, you can go ahead and do that. We're gonna do a normal run though, because of course you can do some sidereal skipping and stuff. You can even skip the whole phase if you want to, if you have a lot of damage, but we're gonna show the most realistic thing that a lot of people are gonna be encountering. So right now we're of course gonna stagger. We're gonna pre-dark as well because we want to be ready. Dark that up, sidereal it up, and I'm gonna go ham right here with an atrophy. So after the stagger is over, we're gonna go full ham. We're gonna use everything we have, boom boom, and we're gonna keep on attacking because the boss still is vulnerable, and you want to get as much gauge as you possibly can. The more gauge the better, the more gauge the better. And of course, if you're a class that can get gauge without hitting something, then this phase is perfect. Because you can see right here, right now, I'm going to play the first one a little bit safe, the first one. And after this one's done, I'm going to start getting gauge by just punching around and moving around. So there we go. Now I can go ahead and punch around, dance around the map a little bit, and get myself the gauge. So you will see that eventually, before the mech's over, I will have max gauge. So this is going to be number 2. Of course, 4 in total. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then the next one I will definitely be done. And of course, we're going to be having our goal of having max adrenaline stack before the mech starts. So this is mech 3, Make sure I keep my counter, of course. And there we go. We are good to go. So we have to go 2 and 1. So keeping my adrenaline up, keeping my adrenaline up. And counter, and then get to the front and Etro. Of course, you hope by the time that you do this, someone has used the Dark. If you didn't get that, of course, you can use Dark yourself as well. Unlucky, no crit on the T skill. That would have been a lot of damage. I know I can skip right here, but I want to make sure that this is more realistic, because not a lot of parties are going to skip if you especially have on eye level people. I'm still helping and doing a lot of damage, so the sidereal right now, of course, it's going to be used in a little bit. So party 2 right now is going to go stagger, and again, do not use your hyper awakening. Only party 1 is going to use it here. So we're going to use the sidereal real quick, and all the mobs are going to die. And we can go ahead and just do this, and then use it again. This is a grab, do not be in front. And then he's going to spin, and he's going to just have someone grab. Good. So we can use this time to DPS. So he's just going to go ahead and be in the corner. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit him from the front, even in here. And boom. So now we have hyper. So of course you can be on the lookout if you are patient for your support. But you can see right here, we did enough damage. So we have already phased them. So as a breaker right now, of course, we can go ahead and get gauge. But we don't want to do that right now, because we need to look where the sensor is. And we cannot mess up and kill the sensor in accident, because then we wipe. So I need to know. Okay, so there are 5 and 4. So I can go ahead and get myself gauge in here at the top, because then I know I do not I will not kill the sensor. So we need to go ahead and go to black 5, kill the sensor real quick. It has been killed. So just make sure, just come here, come here, come here, come here. Because if I use sidereal, I will kill the sensor that's there. So I will make sure that I have full gauge. I can even grab myself the line as well, help out, and it should almost be done. Yeah, see, they're done right now. We see the shaky, and then we know that it's time. So I use Avel right now, use Dark Gate, and if you really want to pump the numbers, you just use basic spells here. You don't go ham, because Avel actually does that much damage. I can wait and then go ham right here at the end, and now all my damage will count towards MVP if you really want to pet those numbers. And again, my T-skill didn't crit once again. 80%, by the way. It is what it is. You know, it always happens when you need it. And of course, the boss is either inside the circle. He is. You can go ahead and use your hyper. And most of the time, the boss is almost done. And of course, I can go ahead and do another little mode right here. And there we go. That is gate 1, easy peasy. So, of course, if you were party 2, you would use your hyper right now, right here. And then you should be good as well. So, that's gate 1. Not too bad, not too nothing too crazy going on here. Of course, gate 2, there's a lot more greed patterns to do, and we ended up at a nice 43%, which is not too bad. Of course, it didn't go too ham. I want to make sure that I can explain everything as well, but we're going to move into gate 2. Once again, gate 2, it's pretty important to go ahead and get your gauge early, because otherwise you have to use a stimulant, and you cannot use a Atro if you really want to. Most of the time nowadays, you don't need 3 Atros anymore, because Echidna Gate 2 goes by quite fast. So we can actually use an Atro during the first phase to just make sure that it goes by a little bit faster, which actually is pretty nice. So we're going to just go ahead and focus on getting gauge as much as possible. We have 2 areas of mobs, so get yourself your full gauge. And of course, if maybe someone goes to the toilet, you can always use a stimulant instead and just get your full gauge near the circle, but it should be good. Okay, so in my opinion, gate 2 is pretty important to have your music on to know exactly when you need to burst in the first phase. Because during a certain part of the song, she always sits down around that moment. And her sitting down is actually a really good DPS time, unless you have yourself the line, which can be kind of annoying, but we'll see about that, what happens. Of course, we're going to use a sleep bomb, atropine once again, and dark nade. We're going to pump as much as possible. You can use food as well if you need to. And we're going to go ahead and, if possible, of course, pre-prep our adrenaline, so that's going to be ready. Of course, there's no guarantee we're going to keep it, because the first time you go into a gate is always a cutscene, and if people are not auto skip enjoyers, then we are this time, because that's good. So first ability, she's always a bit annoying. Like you can see right here, I can actually tank this because you get 1 stack only, and we don't have to care. But of course, this matters that you know the patterns of Echidna. You know the patterns, because right now, of course, a lot of people would have gone on a stack here. Another one right here. See a grab. That person is going to be turned already. Look at this. We're gonna have 2 turned people like that, and that's why it's very important to know your limits and know what you're doing. And I need to, of course, make sure that I get as much gauge as possible, because otherwise you get this. Okay, take 2. Let's see this time. So, like I said, this gate shows the first real DPS moment by the song, because it's when she goes ahead and sits down. So, of course, we got our aura. We're going to go ahead and use everything. And we're going to mainly focus on getting as much gauge back as fast as possible. Like, at the start of the fight, you want to dump that gauge, and you want to build it up for the big DPS burst in a second. This is going to be a charm. So, of course, I can tank this with my thing right here. But hear the music in the background. You hear this? Ha, ha, ha. There will be another one, but with a lot higher notes. And that is going to be the indicator that she's going to sit down. It's soon. It's soon. So we're getting our gauge. It's here. After this. See? Hear it? The big high. Ha, ha, ha. And that indicates that it's time to burst. We're going to use our ult as well. Ult will be back up for the snakes most of the time. Of course, if you're really fast, you don't even have hyper then anyway, so you do not need ult. So this is the perfect time to use it. Now, of course, during this, you can go ahead and get your gauge back as well. Don't forget, these mirrors are actually taking damage, so you can stack gauge on them. So make sure you just don't use any counters. But I'm gonna just hit one right here. Look, I'm doing damage. So if you can do damage to something, it means you can build gauge. And building gauge just means that you can get yourself your stacks and you can get ready for the burst. So get yourself full gauge right here on the mirrors. Do whatever you need. Like, a lot of people here are just running around, right? They're running around and they're just messing up, and they're not going to be full gauge. But I am going to be ready with full gauge here. Of course, try not to take the last one. Look, and I can go ahead and full burst right here. Don't use Echo here. You probably don't have it either. And boom. Just go ahead and burst really hard. Careful for that pushback. And just know the patterns. Like I said, this is not a pattern teaching video. This is about DPSing out, in, and get ready to slam her the second she comes back. Boom, boom. She goes back. Go to the front once again. Keep on DPSing. Mirror here. We can greet a little bit longer, but do not greet too long. You do not want to die on this pattern. So over here, what I always do is just go for the long one, and then after that I just go over and then I go in. So I'm next to the boss once again. You can pre-stack your adrenaline if you really need to. Maybe you kept it up during this, and then we're good to go. So we have a little fly trap. We're gonna have ourselves people doing fly trap, which is nice. Out and in. Of course, if you're doing walking, it's a different one, so someone's gonna walk right there. It's totally fine. So in here, of course, if you can, stack your adrenaline, stack everything, make sure you're ready. And then the boss, of course, after we're done, we can go in.
To covet is to seek absolute beauty.
And during this, of course, if you can, try to be on the Echidna side. And I think, we got the mirror. So if you're on the Echidna side, of course, you can pre-stack adrenaline. But if I'm out first, I can get myself adrenaline as well. And if you're on the Echidna, you can stack gauge as well if you really need to. I'm full gauge, so I don't really care about this. I only care about my adrenaline. So we're going to go in and boom, go ham. And this, hopefully, is going to face the boss all the way until the next phase. Bump. Bonk. There we go. 120. Easy. So she's done right now. She's good to go. She's been cooked. And now, of course, it's time to do enough stagger. But our time as well for us is to get enough gauge. You don't really have to care about cooldowns. You don't have to keep anything anything besides your T-skill. Again, in my opinion, just general rule, never use T-skill. It is what it is. It is what it is. Just never use your T-skill here or in any things where you need to get gauge. Just go ahead and use your skills. Careful, don't insta counter and counter afterwards. And then use everything. Go ham, go ham, go ham. And just do as much stagger as possible. We want to make sure that this phase is done. There we go. And then we're going to get ready. Keep on going. Hopefully she has been cooked. She is cooked. Okay. Someone's going to take the clash. And then we're going to look at the little buff that we're going to get. This one, we're going to get it refreshed. And once it's 60 seconds, I use sidereal if I step back forward a little bit. There we go. 17, 16. Use it right now. A little bit forward. Use star. And it should be good. There we go. She is phased. Easy peasy. Bunk. Okay. So now I shouldn't have used my big skill there. I used it. I don't know why I did that. So we're going to go ham here. We're going to go ahead and mode immediately. Of course, if you have a really long time to get mode back, then don't use it. Oh, this is really shit. The two flowers spawn there. She always does it 3 times. It is what it is. And she should be faced right here. She's going to do a little counter. So always in the corner first. And then you can go in. And then it's ready for a counter, right? Like that. Of course, I didn't get my gauge back. It is what it is, you know. I should have done a little bit more. I tried to explain. That's what happens if you're explaining. You always lose a little bit DPS. Okay, we have to use Ctrl-C when the circle appears. Ctrl-C. Boom. And then we're going to go ahead and take down the snake. And I should be here. So now, of course, we can go ahead and use Etro if you want to. If you have a hyper that hits both snakes, which I sadly do not have, I will go ahead and hit both snakes. And then we're just going to kill the second snake as well. There we go. It's down. And now, of course, we have one more Etro, which we're going to use whenever we have a lot of gauge and she's standing still. So that's probably going to be during Ephernia. That's going to be after the times 50 mirror mech. It all has different points where I can use it. Careful. This as well as grab. During grab, just go ahead and focus on doing DPS if you can. But for example, I'm always like, it's bad for me to be in the front, so I'm not DPSing at the front in that stage. But I'm always still DPSing. You know, I'm doing damage. I make sure that I go ahead and do as much damage as possible all the time. She's gonna go back. This is why it's important to know what the patterns do, guys. She's gonna go back once again, but we can go ahead and still do a little bit of damage right here. All right, so she's times 50. So I can go ahead and quickly put a burst in because I know she's going to go away and I have enough time to get it back. So there we go. Put a little 2 billion in there. I'm going to do the macro quick for them. Plus, minus, 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 plus. So it's -1. So it's right there. And meanwhile, now I can get gauge. This middle mirror can be attacked as well to get gauge. And it gives me perfect vision to keep up with what's going on. So I know the mirror right now is on the right to stagger. And I know I can now go ahead and help stagger as well. So if you stagger real fast, you can go ahead and be ready for the mirror here. And boom, burster right now. Use my little T skill. And then when I do this, I can hopefully... And I will use sidereal here so she's dead. Guaranteed. There we go. We actually killed her by normal. Of course, if you're very close to killing her to put it to 0, use sidereal so she phases 100%. Now, once again, we have no gauge. So we have one more Etro, but we're in a pretty fast lobby. So, yeah, we'll be fine. This is a grab. Just keep DPSing her. Keep DPSing. There's no reason you're not DPSing here. She's gonna do, of course, do a spin, give you a little stack. It is what it is. Double forward, so I cannot DPS at the front. Someone is charmed. And then at the back. Okay, that really sucks because the Sork is over there. Show the space bar. I don't know what the first one is. I'm guessing like bottom right-ish. It's on the left. The person countered. That's really bad. And we're gonna die now here. Oh my god. Holy, I got the counter there. I made sure to shield myself. Normally would have died there. And this is why you shouldn't go ahead and always insta counter. It is what it is. But we can go ahead. You can see we can immediately just go ahead and DPS, 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 DPS. Keep it going. Keep it going. Like, we never have to stop. This is all good. Our support should just keep us up. Keep us healthy. Second mode. Of course, we can use sidereal. And then someone's going to get grabbed. Hopefully. And if we don't do the grab, I'm not going to get grabbed because I don't trust people in that kind of aspect. Okay. We see 11, 5, 9. Okay. I'm going to be ready at 11. I can do all counter solo. 5 and then 9. There we go. Free that guy. And then just DPS. And then that should be it. That should be it. And this one you can just go ahead and DPS while get rid of it. Alright. There we go. That is Echidna, simple like that, and it will give you a lot of opportunities. Of course, we skipped past the 50 bar mech, which is Ephernia. What you would do there is super simple, is the leader's gonna use Ephernia, and in there you would use that last Atro. Like, we didn't have a good chance to use our last Atro, right? Like, you can see we still have one. Normally use that either on the times 50 bar mech, which we didn't have that much time for, or you use it on Ephernia. Those are the two really good patterns to use it on, and then of course you will be out of Atros after that. So yeah, there we have it, guys. That's gonna be Echidna in a nutshell to DPS. Of course, if you let me know if there's any other tips or tricks you do as a DPS in those. I think the main important one is like the first Atro. A lot of people don't really seem to abuse that one. So if you guys did enjoy, I would highly appreciate a like down below, guys. Subscribe if you come join me on twitch.tv/ImDefild if you need some more info, and I'll see you guys again in 2 days for another video. So I'll say take care, love, bye, and as well, take care.